all, happy Friday. Thanks so much for joining me for another craft night with friends. So it is Finish It Friday. That's usually where the first Friday of the month we set aside whatever we're working on and finish an unfinished project. But I think I'm just going to finish the unfinished project that we were working on yesterday. So we finished all of our flower embroideries, but I want to clean up the edges and finish it so I bring all of the fabric to the back. So that's kind of the last little tedious task of this project. And I thought, you know what, this is fine for Finish It Friday. So that is the plan. Thanks so much for joining me here. My name's Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central. So, all right, let's get going. All right, hello everyone. So here are our 5 embroideries that we got done. So I want to finish them. And what I mean by that is, let's see, kind of like how here's one of our other patterns, one of our older patterns here, and I have finished it by bringing together all the fabric in the back. So I kind of want to do this exact same thing here. Stay tuned, you guys, too. We're going to have an announcement at some point soon about those Halloween designs. But all right, so let's do that. This is going to be my last kind of bit to finish these. I photographed them yesterday, so they're all photographed, ready to go for the bundles. And all we have left is I need to finish it so I can send them out to my crafter friends. This is for an art exchange that I'm doing with some of them. So I'm just cutting between a 1/2 inch and an inch, just basically as big as I can go to about an inch around. So we end up with like a round piece here. Before I should really like center it all again and make sure that everything's right where I want it. I think it's pretty good. I don't think I need to really center it again. I think it's fine where it is. But yeah, should do that before cutting. This will be good. This is kind of a great Finish It Friday task. It's just that, you know, one of those little jobs that if I wouldn't make time for it, it'd get set aside forever. So I'm just taking a little bit of the extra floss that I have here. This one has 3 strands. It doesn't really matter. 3 strands will be easy to pull through, but I want to have enough so it can go around this circle. Plus, I like, you know, a good like extra foot or 10 inches or so of floss. So I'm going to do that. I don't know why I have this cutting the floss with this giant scissors, but oh, happy anniversary, Jennifer. That's exciting. Congrats. It's Jennifer's 50th wedding anniversary. Okay, so next up, I kind of like flipping it over. Well, to start, I'm going to fold the top down, and I'm going to start on the edge, like, I don't know, a 1/4 inch or so away from the edge, and we're just going to do a running stitch. So I can do a few stitches, up and down and up and down, and then I'm going to pull that through. But I'm going to leave a good like 4 inches or so on the end. There. So we'll just have a bunch of little stitches like that going around. So I'm going to just set this down and continue going around this edge. So these don't have to be perfect. You know, they can be different sizes and stuff. I'll try and be as consistent as possible, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Just a running stitch, and we'll pull that through. And if it bunches up a little like that, that's okay. And we are just going to go around and around this whole piece. So I love this way of finishing an embroidery. just because, first of all, you don't need to use glue, you don't need any special finishing tools. I'm just using leftovers from the actual design, stitching the flower. So that's nice. No extra anything. This does take a bit of time, though, going around the edge, but not any more time than like having to glue it all down or anything like that, I don't think. Oh, Jennifer says that 50 years went fast. Ugh. Yeah, John and I just had our 18th, which seems crazy, too. Yep, these will be available as PDFs. I'm trying to get those out at the same time that we will be shipping the kits. So probably mid next week is when they'll be available, and I'll let you guys know too when the PDFs are available. And when the kits are available. So the kits are available now for pre-order, and I'll be sending those out right when I get the packaging done. So that'll be early next week. We'll make the kits and get them sent out right away. And at that point, the PDFs should be ready to go as well. Alright, I'm about halfway. I like this red. I just kind of randomly picked this red. Made sense for the poppies. So I basically have to do this for each one of these. So that might take the whole time, you know, with all 5. These little finishing things take time. And I'm also going to write on the edge of the hoop there. I'm going to like say who it's to and from, and what the project name is, that this was basically our art trade, our 2021 art trade or whatever, something like that. So I won't do that tonight. I got to figure out what to write for that, but then they'll be ready to ship to my friends, basically. I want to give them a finished kit as well, and then maybe a little notepad for the art trade. So my month is September, so sometime this month I'll have to finish it up. Oops, I lost my needle there. I am stitching, Tamara, I'm stitching on a bleached, so it's white, a bleached muslin. So it's like 100% cotton muslin. I like working on cotton muslin just because it's, first of all, well, my favorite reason is that it has like a loose weave typically, so a little bit looser than like a tightly woven, you know, quilting weight cotton or something like that. So it's a woven fabric, which makes it easy to stitch, and the weave is a little bit bigger, which allows the needle and the floss to go through easily without me having to like yank and pull on it. That's not fun. So if you're looking for it, this particular kind is bleached, 100% cotton muslin. We have the unbleached, which is a little tan with speckles. We have the unbleached in the shop, but we don't have the bleached right now. Oh, I should get the bleached in the shop too at some point. All right, we are almost around the bend here, so I have a couple more stitches to get where I started, and I want to come up right next to, or like, you know, a stitch length away from this last one, but I want to come up on the same side. So, ooh, I'm a little awkward here. So right about there. Okay. So now I have the two ends right here. So if I flip over, I'm to the back now. This is so fun. This is my favorite thing to do, you guys. So all right, I am going to cross these over each other, and now you just pull. This is like the super duper magic. You pull and it all sucks right up. And then you have like this perfectly cute little back where everything just got gathered all up in there. So fun. Oh, do I also do cross stitching? I do. So cross stitching is the first like type of embroidery, I suppose, that I learned how to do. I haven't done it in a few years, but I should. I should do that again here. That would be fun. But nope, I do mostly embroidery. I think I'll tie this in one more knot, just so we have a for sure tight knot. Mostly embroidery. I like embroidery just because it's so fast compared to cross stitch. I do like cross stitch because it's like something from nothing. You count like the stitches, and then there's nothing on the fabric, and then all of a sudden there's a whole design on the fabric. I think that's super satisfying. But embroidery takes like an eighth of the time to do a same size piece, so I like these quick projects. I kind of think embroidery is more like coloring. You have the lines, and then you just stay within the lines. Oh, tomorrow I'm making some cross-stitching ornaments and hoops. Oh, great way to finish. Oh, yes, I love this way of finishing. If you're doing it for cross-stitch, I'd maybe go in a little further, just because I'm a little scared that you'll pull out the threads a little bit. But I'd give it a try. Maybe do a little test on a scrap piece first. All right, I'm going to just snip. I keep using this giant scissors. I do have my actual smaller scissors here, too. Okay, that's it for those threads. So there we go. That is all I'm going to do to finish this. So you can actually put a second piece of fabric in here if you want to cover up your stitches. So you would just stitch through both pieces of fabric. You could even do a design on that fabric. I've also seen people get this far, and then they'll cut out a piece of felt and then just like glue that or stitch that on, so they'll completely cover this up 100%, but I actually think it's really cute. I like being able to see the back. I think that just shows like the hand of the person that's working on it a little bit, and I just think this is really sweet. It's just dark, like just cute, I think, for the back. So that guy's done, except for me, I'm gonna write on the edge, that title and stuff, but this guy's done. Just to show you guys one extra fun thing of when you finish it this way, you can actually take the outer hoop off because it's being held on its own, so you can actually have like a nice clean piece like this. You could just hang it like right here like this, like put a little hook underneath there or something. So if you wanted even cleaner, framed in the hoop, but just cleaner, you could even get rid of that outer hoop, which this is really pretty with just without the hoop. But I'm gonna leave the hoop on, so I'm gonna plop it back on there. Try and kind of center it again, or just get it so that's at the top. The closure's at the top, and we'll just tighten it up again. But really, what's holding it is all the thread in back. The other reason I like doing it this way is that if I really wanted to, I could cut this thread away and it would flatten out again. It would be like my larger cut circle, but I could use it for a different piece if I really, really wanted to. All right, so that's like 1 out of 5. All right, so this is what we're doing tonight. It is Finish It Friday. I'm gonna just try to finish all of these ones just like that. So all right, let's do the same thing first. I'll do it right this time. First, let's I just went right to cutting with the last one. This time I'm gonna just make sure it's centered, tighten it up again in there, and there we go. That's good. So all right, now I'm gonna trim these edges again, just to get my rounded shape. You could try and do like a perfect circle, then the back would be a more perfect circle, like mine kind of bloops in here a little bit, but I think who cares? I like when it looks a little hand done. So I'm just kind of clipping these corners here. last one. All right, let's pick another fun color for this. Maybe that Euro peach color. I like that. From our blob of excess thread. Here we go. Oh, perfect. So, all right, again, I'm gonna need the amount to go around the whole piece. So I just like draping it around there like so. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So about that much. And then I always add like a good like extra foot or so, or 10 inches or so to it, just to be safe. And that's that. So let's stitch this one. All right. Get the needle. Oh, let's use the needle threader again. So it's a little easier with the needle threader if you're having trouble with that pinch method that I'm doing. All right. Put the thread through the diamond, and there we go. All right, so again, I'm gonna like flip it to the back and then fold that upper edge over, and I'm gonna start right at the top. I mean, you can really start wherever you want, like wherever you want this bow to be at the end, and you could trim this off and tuck it away if you don't want the little bow. But like if you wanted the bow at the bottom or on the side or whatever, then that's where you would start stitching. I always kind of do it at the top here. So I fold this over and I'm starting like going down from the top here. And we'll just do that running stitch again where I can weave in and out a few stitches like so, just in and out and in and out. And we'll pull that through. And again, I'm leaving a good, 4 inches or so. If I pull on this a little bit, that's fine, but I don't want this to come all the way out. So I'm leaving enough so that hopefully that doesn't happen. All right, and then around we go again. Round 2 here. I gotta tell you, I like putting the binding on a quilt more than I like doing this, I think, actually. I do love when we get to pull it all together, like when we get to like pull those little threads here. That's awesome. I love that. But man, this running stitch, I mean, it's fine, I suppose. Just in my head, like a running stitch and going around this, it's my expectations. That's always the thing, right? Like, the only reason, like, for frustration is because your expectations aren't quite right. So my expectation is that, like, oh, it's so quick to do a running stitch around the edge here. And then I get frustrated when I, halfway done and I feel like I should have been done already. So I have, like, a minor itchy frustration with this, which is just so stupid, because it just takes what it takes. So I just need to get rid of that expectation and sit with and enjoy that. That's my struggle with ironing and quilting too, all that pressing I always forget about. Oh, Sharon says, I'm glad you're doing the backs of these. I couldn't remember how you did it. Yeah, I think it's super duper cute. And I should do it once. I won't do it with these, but another time that we do it, we'll stitch a whole back. Like, you can say who it's from and for on the back on a second piece of fabric, and then you put that piece of fabric in with the front piece. And then you stitch through both at the same time. That's a nice look, too. I mean, it's just a variation of this, really. Which is cute too, but usually by this time I want to be done with it, so like the idea of having to stitch a whole nother thing of who it's for and all that, I pitter out at that point. So I usually leave it just open back like this. But I'll show you guys a few other ways of doing this at some point. But this is my go-to way. I do really like that I can just use materials that I have in front of me still, just the leftover floss. That's kind of, other than it's super cute, that's one of my big reasons for doing it this way. suppose this is relaxing. I just gotta lean into it a little bit, I think. I think it's just knowing that I got 5 of them to do, but now I'm only gonna have, after this one, I'll only have 3 left to do. But this is totally a task that I would have let sit for a long time, probably, if we didn't have this extra day to kind of putz around and work on it. I am trying to stay closer to the outside edge than the inside because it'll pull it all in a little bit better. I think it'll still work though either way. We're getting there. Maybe I'll get faster as we go throughout the night. That'd be cool. We're almost to the favorite part, though, where I get to pull it all together. That is really fun. Alright, a couple more stitches. I want to end up next to that beginning stitch again. There, that's good. Alright, I can take my needle off. So there I have the 2 ends right next to each other there again. Alright, so I'm going to lay it on its front and then I'm going to cross those over. And alright, so now we just pull. Best part. Love it. So cute. Alright, and now I'm just going to tie it in a few knots to hold it in place there. Alright. Ooh, I'm feeling super clumsy with my hands with this. Alright, let's tie it in a cute little bow. And then this one will be done. Alright, I'm going to pull those way back so I have smaller loops. There we go. That's cute. Snip our little ends. Boop. Alright, there is our second one. There, so those backs are looking super cute there. Okay. 2 done. Let's clean up that front. Little fuzzle. Get those fuzzles out of there. Alright, I'll probably do a final little cleanup before I send them off. Even though, they might get fuzzles in the mail and stuff too. But there we go. 2. Let's do the next one. I'm just kind of grabbing as I go here. So we have the zinnias. I'll leave one upside down like that. That's cute with the orange though. The poppies, the gladiolas, the lilies. I really like how that guy turned out. And the coral bells. That was our last one. All right, let's recenter this. Make sure it's pretty center. I'm just kind of tightening all the fabric. If there's anything that seems off, I think we're still pretty good there. Tighten it up. All right, let's do that trim. So I'm just kind of trying to make it round. If I had way more fabric on the edges here, I would go like an inch all the way around, but some of it's like this top area is a little bit closer. So I don't want to trim any off of that because we're already kind of close to the edge here. Ooh, I think it just started raining outside. It's been kind of sprinkling all day. It's been dark out all day. Oh, you guys, we went to that, John and I took a mini field trip this afternoon to the, let's use the yellow on this one, to that garden center near us. I was hoping, since we're going to visit my parents tomorrow, I was hoping that they'd have those. I have to do, I feel like this is my sign language motion for the string of pearls plants. It's like the string of pearls going over the top of the pot. I have to visualize it in my head, but or physically in my hands, I guess. So we went there just to see if they had them. They're supposed to call when they come in, but it's been a little while and they haven't called, so I thought, I'll just go over there and check. All right, I'm getting my around the piece plus that extra foot or so again. Snip. And they did not have them yet, which is a bummer. So they didn't have the string of pearls plants yet. They had something else though that they called a string of rubies or something. Does that sound familiar? I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. But they had something like that, which was basically the same thing, but instead of the little pearls, which is what my mom wants, it was kind of more like pointy little succulent nubs. That's not a great description, I suppose. But I mean, they're beautiful, but not what we are going for. Mom's been looking for those string of pearl plants forever, and this place has them in, but I don't know, they must be on back order or something. I guess it's hard to get things lately. All right, leaving that 4 or 5 inches or so. This yellow, this is kind of bright and cute. I like this for this one. It's the only time we did use yellow. I was thinking, it's the only time I use yellow, but I did use it in the zinnias there too. But it was fun to go there again. We gotta walk past all the pretty orchids. Oh, dang. And then we were looking at these like kind of big-leafed plants because my mom got a big pot last time she visited from there, but didn't end up using it. She used a smaller pot. She's gonna transplant her jade, like a big jade plant. But she ended up with that pot. Oh yeah, we talked about this. So she was like, if you see one of those big monstera, I still feel like I'm saying that wrong, monstera plants, grab one of those. And they had some, but we were just kind of like, I don't know if this is just right. And then we were leaving, and we were walking past this table, and we were like, ooh, look at these plants. These are really pretty. So they were kind of like that big, broad monstera leaf sort of, type leaf, but skinnier and pointier and longer. And they were much smaller than these other plants, but they were so cool. They were like this deep red color and kind of this deep green color, but every once in a while a leaf would completely lighten up to a pale white, and sometimes that pale white would have or like a cream, and it would sometimes have bursts of bright pink in it, like almost like a birthmark on this plant, on this really dark leaf plant. It would have this birthmark of very light white and just blasts of pink going across it. So freaking pretty. And but like medium-sized plants or whatever, not huge. And John's like, oh, look at this one. This one's great. We look at the price. And it was $750, you guys. And they had a smaller one next to it for $350 for this tiny, it wasn't tiny, but it wasn't a huge plant either. It was gorgeous, but $750. And then I'm looking at more of them, like, holy cow. And then I see like this area is monitored by video cameras and stuff, signs there. I'm like, oh yeah. I basically told John, it figures you'd pick like probably the most expensive plant in this whole place as your favorite. John's spotting the high-end stuff. Oh, it was so pretty though, but like it kind of took our breath away at the price. That is not what I was expecting at all, but it really was beautiful. Like this deep green leaves that kind of almost tinged to that dark red, which is kind of weird on its own. And then, yeah, just these blasts of, like they bleached a couple blotches on a leaf here and there, not very much, and then on top of that bleach, they just put like this bright pink. So it just looked really striking against that super dark, greeny red sort of thing. I have no idea what plant it was, though. Should have looked at that. I know Jenna's like, was the plant made of gold? Yeah, for real. Ugh, it was beautiful. I mean, maybe it gets really big or something, but I don't know. It still seemed like not quite like floor plant bigness, unless you had like a super tall pot or like one of those pots with legs on it and stuff. So, man, I don't know. Oh, you've heard of a string of dolphins before. Maybe that's what this was, because now that you say dolphins, it did kind of look like a bunch of like teeny jumping dolphins, really. Maybe that's what she said. Maybe I just misheard her. That could be. They were pretty, but they weren't string of pearls, so it was a no. So I figure, I'll wait for the phone call and I'll just have to go back again. See more pretty flowers. Pretty plants and flowers. I should have taken a photo of it. If we go back there and they still have them, I'll take a photo of the $750 like tabletop plant. Oh god. They had like snake plants and all those things there, though. Definitely they were leaning into the houseplant stuff, though. I don't remember. I mean, I know that they had lots of houseplants like that, but like the leafy houseplants, that I think they're leaning into, because I mean, those are so popular now. But still very pretty. All right, I'm trying to load all these up and come up next to my last one here. I feel like I'm getting a little close to the edge here, and it's fraying a little bit, but I mean, this theoretically isn't going to be handled a lot, so I think we'll be fine still. All right, so again, there are my two ends there. Let's cross them over and do our little pull. All right, here we go. Zoop. Always has to have a sound effect. All right, let's tie the knots. Keep it in place. Ugh, these fuzzles I'm gonna have to cut away. I'm gonna do that right now. They're annoying me. There we go. I'm like midway in a knot when I decided to do that. All right, there we go. Okay. I'm feeling like clumsy on these little bows tonight. There we go, tightened up again. Out a bit. Good enough. All right, let's trim. Boop. All right. Out of here, fuzzle. All right, 3 done. They're looking fun. All right, let's do, I guess, the lily next. I think we will get these done, which is nice. It's gonna feel like it's taking pressure off of me a little bit to get these done tonight. That'll be good. Little fuzzle on here. I want to get that. Amy says a plant like that, you have to hire its own personal caretaker. Well, that's kind of what John was saying. Like, you still have to take care of it. Like, you could just kill it, which is what, happens here. I don't think we have a plant that's really flourishing here yet. I've not figured out how to get a plant to flourish in our house yet. They're alive, and they've been alive for years. My most of my plants, but like none of them feel like they would really choose to live with me if they had a better option. That's what it seems like, my poor plants. I think I just need a zillion more windows in the house. That would probably do the job. All right, let's do this pretty pink here. Let's do this light pink. Yeah, we'll do the light pink. Unless I have, yeah, here, this light pink that we have some strands out already. It's difficult to pull 6 strands, which is what embroidery floss starts as, with 6 strands. It's kind of difficult sometimes to pull through. I mean, this muslin has a pretty wide weave, so I don't think we'd have that big of a problem, but sometimes 6 strands is annoying, so I'm going for ones that I've already pulled a few strands out. I think this has 4, which is more than our other ones. All right, making sure it's going around and then adding my extra foot or so. Okay, this seems twisty too. All right, now I'm ready. I'll do the pinch method this time. So just pinching the end, you can snip it just so it's nice and clean. I think this is my snipped end. And pinch, and then unpinch, and the moment you see it, when you unpinch, kind of squish the eye of your needle over it. And that usually works for me, my main way of threading a needle. All right, let's start at the top again, folding over that edge. And get that running stitch going. Oh, almost forgot to leave an end there. Could have just pulled that through, which I've done before. Ugh, now that I know that I only have one more of these to do, I'm feeling good. So we just did that. Noeline's asking, Alyssa, have you repotted your plants into the next size up pot? That helps them a lot. Oh, a grow light works good too. So we have recently enough, repotted to a bigger thing. We actually did that with most of our plants during COVID, like when we were in lockdown, so like 2020 sometime. So we did do that, and they just look happier, and we bought cute pots for them and stuff too. So I don't know. Theoretically, maybe they're happier. And just recently, when I got that new mini tiny orchid, when my parents visited, I repotted the orchids. So the orchids are very recently. Actually, maybe I just did that last weekend. No, I wasn't here. I might have done that like maybe last Thursday. So I think maybe last week I repotted the orchids. So still not sure if they like it or not, and the orchids are kind of picky, I think, with that, but they needed it too. I repotted the bigger one once already, but I repotted it again, and I think it's going to be happier. Those are still tricky to me yet. I don't know. They're still alive, like I said, but they're not... I don't know. If they could talk, I think they would try and tell me some things. And if they could pick to live at my mom's house, I think they would. Where it's nice and sunny, and her orchids always do just so nice. Oh, Sharon got her Scaredy Cat kit today. Nice. So yeah, the Scaredy Cat is our embroidery of the month. We'll be stitching that in a couple weeks here. Oh, good. I'm glad you got it already. Yeah, that's great. That's super fast then. That before the end of the week you got it. That's awesome. This pink is pretty. I think this is a good choice for this one. Orloa says, I had a jade plant that was 32 years old. Nice. Oh, you felt sad when it died. Yes. It's like a family member at that point. Had a neighbor care for it while we were gone. Oh, she overwatered it. Yes. Yeah, I think I have a cactus here that I may have overwatered, and now I haven't watered it in ages, but I don't know. It might be moldy in the middle, I think, which is sad. Yeah, those jade plants. We have one of those from my parents. When they moved, they just had a ton of them. But I think they had it at their old house, like where I grew up in, and it was like this giant bush outside. And I think they gave my brother one too, and it froze, so it went totally dead, but it actually started growing again. I think it got like tiny leaves on it again, I think, after it froze, which is crazy. But yeah, we do have that jade plant, but again, if it could go back to my parents' house, I think it would. Poor little plants here. They're trying, I think. I don't know. Maybe they're perfectly fine. I've definitely not mastered watering timing, that's for sure. Alright, last couple stitches. Alright, I think that's it. Okay, we got our two pieces next to each other again. Let's cross those over. Best part. I have to laugh at it every time. It's so cute. It's so fun how it just sucks right in. Yeah, I do not trust myself with a $750 plant. That is for dang freaking sure. I need to become a master plant monger before venturing into that territory. Cute. All right, one more to go. Ugh, nice. Makes me happy. Here, let's get them all out here. Flip this guy around. All right, last one here. Here's our coral bells. Let's just check it in the hoop. Okay. Trim it up. Thanks for letting me do this tonight, you guys. This is just feeling like a weight off me, really, which it shouldn't feel like that, but you know, maybe I'm just not used to. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe I'm not used to doing a craft under a time crunch like this, but then I'm like, well, basically every time I do an embroidery of the month, it's doing a craft under a time crunch. But this is for, yeah, I don't know what it is about this one. This just felt like a big project. All right, now this one I'll do this dark pink. All right, I think I got a piece here. All right, let's circle around. Get that extra 12 inches. Oops, missed. All right, last one. Let's do it. Oh, Robin says, I plant my orchids in orchid potting mix and fertilize and have a spray for their leaves. My mom gave me some orchid fertilizer. I'm wondering how often do you use it? I don't, or maybe I wrote it down on the container. I haven't used it lately. Amy says $750 is a lot of fabric. That's true. Although I suppose it's a lot like you could find a $750 a yard fabric though too, I suppose. So similar to the plants. Uh-oh, got a little knot and won't be able to pull it tight with that there. There. Just a little twisty with this thread. Oh, your particular fertilizer is only every 3 months. So that's why I was nervous about. That's why I've only used that orchid fertilizer once. The stuff that I have, it's like this purple powder, and you put like just like a teaspoon or something, or an eighth of a teaspoon, something really little, in the water. But I've been just trying to I've been trying different ways of watering the plants. So I'm now doing it where you dip the pots in water and let them soak up the water. That's working really well for one plant. One kind of leafy plant has liked that, and it's actually stayed wet for quite a while. I'm not sure the orchids work as well that way, because since I repotted them, they're a little bit higher up in the pot, so I'm not sure by just dipping them in the water if they're getting enough water. So I'm putting some in the top too, but they were doing better when I put water, better than like before, like prior to like this stage, but they were doing okay when I put water in the bottom of a tray, but then they're just like in water all the time, and I was worried about the roots rotting. So I repotted them, and now I'm just kind of dipping them in a little bit every once in a while. I'm not like putting ice cubes in or like that. Just, yeah, so I don't know. They're still growing leaves, they're still growing roots, but they aren't flowering. But maybe they will still. Actually, I think all that slowed down since I repotted it last week, but that was just last week, so maybe I don't like it. Yeah, some plants don't like wet feed. That's what I'm scared of. Yeah, exactly. Oh, an ice cube just once a week? So I've heard like an ice cube a day, and way back like years ago, that's kind of, I guess I've had these orchids for a while, so I'm not killing them, uh, but they don't flower all the time. They have flowered once, like every couple of years they seem to flower again, but it is like a couple of years. So I've heard like the instructions that came with this new little one that I got said um, an ice cube a day, but I've been doing that like soaking way of doing it, and not every day either. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I don't kill them. But I learned on TikTok that you can propagate orchids like once it's done flowering and the stem kind of starts drying out. If you snip a piece of the stem, you can stick that in water and it'll grow roots. So I want to try that after this one, the one that I just bought last weekend or 2 weekends ago or whatever. When that one's done flowering, I want to try and snag part of the stem and see if I can propagate it, because how cool would that be? I have put them prominently on display in my living room, though, and it makes me happy just looking at them, even though they're not flowering. And I don't like a lot of water, but I'm not like, it's draining right away, so they're not like sitting in water. It's just like a flow through of water, and then it's kind of done. I don't know. All right, so we got this guy done. Let's cross those threads over, and this is our last one. Oh, and it's just kind of perfect timing here too. Zoop. It always needs a sound effect, and then I laughed at myself for needing a sound effect. Just gonna shimmy the ruffles around. Alright, there we go. Let's tie that in a knot. Still think this is such a cute way to finish an embroidery. We're gonna have to definitely do an orchid series of these at some point, I think. Or just maybe like a fancy houseplant series to add to these other flowers. Oops. Let's try that again. Thank you. It's Mandis. I love this way of finishing designs. All right, there's my cute bow. Let's trim the end. And there we go, our last little finished kit here, or little flower. So that was great progress. So they're basically ready to ship off to my friends now. We're doing that artist trade, and my month is September. So I'm gonna just write like to, and then their name, and then from Alyssa, and then like maybe on the other side like 2021 art swap or whatever we're calling it. But there we go. Ugh, really happy with those. Okay, you guys. All right, well, thanks again for coming to another Finish It Friday. We just kind of continued our project, but we finished it. So it's a valid Finish It Friday, I think. So, just a reminder, I will not be here on Monday. It's Labor Day on Monday. We'll still be at my parents'. So I think I'll take Monday off, but I'll be back here again on Tuesday. I'll actually probably be at my parents' house on Tuesday, so I may be on location there, and I think I'm going to be bringing the Granny Square quilt there. So maybe we can get that done and maybe lay it out and stuff yet. Ugh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome if I could lay that out while I'm visiting, since my parents have that big floor space. But all right, you guys, thanks again for working on these with me. The pre-orders, the pre-order bundle, and the individual ones are up in the shop at penguinandfish.com still. And I think I have the link below here. Or in the profile, there'll be the link to that. So pre-orders will be going out next week, and then we'll be like putting it live for real, and they'll be available, and the PDFs will be available probably mid next week as well. So awesome, you guys. Thanks again, and have a fabulous weekend and holiday, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. Good night.